Hey, what's up, Stay Tuners? It's your good friend Jimbo here, just letting you know, before you listen to this awesome episode that we give you guys week in and week out, head over to Twitter, follow us there at ST Sports Podcast, as well as our Facebook page, like and share that, and then head over to YouTube after you're done doing all that stuff, and subscribe to our channel, because we will be live streaming within the next few weeks, and that's where you're going to want to watch and interact with us. So, hit Twitter up, ST Sports Podcast, Facebook, like and share our page, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Enjoy the show.
You heard the rest. Now here's the best. Stay Tuned Sports Podcast with Jimbo and O'Brien.
And yes, we are back again this week. Well, myself. Shoulders had to work late this week, so he won't be joining us this week, but hopefully he'll be back next week. Hope all you guys survived that awesome Super Bowl game between the 49ers and the Chiefs last weekend. I'm going to be getting into it. I'm pretty sure next week when we have Shoulders back, and hopefully Allentown, we could kind of revisit this, get their opinion about everything. And I thought the halftime show, it was okay. Musically, I never really got into J-Lo or Shakira's music, but as far as the game, I thought it was very entertaining. I really thought the Chiefs were gonna mess it up and not get Andy Reid his Super Bowl. But before we get into the football stuff, just wanted to revisit a story that me, Shoulders, and Allentown covered 2 weeks ago, and that's my mascot, my Flyers mascot, Gritty, has been found no evidence of the altercation between him and the 13-year-old boy. To kind of revisit basically what was going on, a father took his son to a meet and greet night with, I guess, to meet the Flyers, and Gritty was there as well at the arena. The son took a picture with Gritty and, quote, playfully tapped Gritty on the head, and according to the father, Gritty proceeded to get up, get a running head start, and punch his son in the back of the head. The Flyers were aware of it. They did their own internal investigation, found no evidence of wrongdoing. Father ended up, going to the police about it. They did their investigation, and in this past, I believe it was Monday, they determined there was no or not enough evidence to charge who actually suits up as Gritty. So, the whole hashtag Free Gritty, even though we were joking around about it, Gritty's sticking around, or at least the person that is inside the suit. But this episode is going to be pretty much going to be all NFL news. Obviously, last Sunday was the Super Bowl, but the night before, they always announce the awards for the year and the final Hall of Fame induction nominees, who's going in. So, obviously, we all kind of knew Lamar Jackson came out as unanimous MVP of the year. I mean, he had an outstanding year. Especially for a guy that, coming out of college, a lot of scouts and, quote, gurus thought he would be better off as a wide receiver or a running back and wouldn't really do that much as a passer. Last year, when he finally got the start, he was up and down, but, I mean, come on. Obviously, he's a rookie. This year, it just seemed like he was out there. Did he use his legs? Yes. But that helped him open up some passing lanes or whatnot to actually be a decent passer. Unfortunately, in the playoffs against the Chiefs, there was a lot of passes that I think he could have been better at. And I really do think I chalked it up to him just being young. But to win the MVP award, I think was, the obvious answer, and rightfully so. He received all 50 votes from the media members, and the only other player to be unanimous was Tom Brady. So, that's not bad. Bad to be in that same boat as him. He also became the youngest quarterback ever to win the NFL MVP. The other thing, as far as Baltimore Ravens happened, was Harbaugh became the first NFL coach of the year for the Baltimore Ravens, which I thought he had the NFL coach of the year early on in his career with the Ravens, but obviously I guess I was wrong. And I don't agree with this. And I might be biased here, but how can you overlook Doug Peterson? He had a bunch of practice squad players and made it to the playoffs, won their division, and almost came back to beat Seattle with a backup quarterback because their starting quarterback got hurt during the game. That game, you had Carson Wentz start the game. Okay, he was your starter from day one. Your wide receivers, you had Greg Ward, J.J. Whiteside, Nelson Aguilar was out, Jeffrey was out, Deshaun was still on IR, Zach Ertz was banged up, Dallas Goedert, he was there since week one. Out of those 11 offensive players, half that, if not more of that offense, were all third, fourth, fifth string players. And then on defense, you have a revolving door for your cornerbacks. The front line, you lost 2 or 3 defense tackles at some point through the year. Malik Jackson was the big free agent signing, and we lost him early on. Tim Jernigan, we lost early on, but he came back. Just the injuries, and then Peterson not even thought about. Baltimore Ravens had a very entertaining offense, and yes, they did get the first seed, but when you look at that division, first off, you got the Browns, you got the Steelers, and you got the Bengals. Right there alone, you're almost guaranteed 5 wins. You're guaranteed 2 wins against the Bengals. You should get 2 wins against the Browns, but you definitely should split. And the Steelers, you should split. So all you gotta do is win 4 or 5 of your other games, and you should lock up first seed. NFC East, you had Dallas. Okay, yes, they may have been up and down, but as far as Philly going against their own division, they always split against Dallas. Or I'm sorry, actually we were on a 6-game lose streak against Dallas. Giants, you didn't know for this rivalry which team was going to show up. Redskins, played better in the second half compared to that first game. So I was really disappointed that Peterson didn't even get thought about, let alone, not win it. He definitely should have been considered, but... And this is what, this is why I'm starting to think also, the awards is more of a popularity contest. Because Arizona quarterback Kyle Murray won Offensive Rookie of the Year over Miles Sanders, who didn't even get one vote. I'm sorry, he got one vote. That was it. How? I mean, if you're going to give it to Murray, you might as well give it to Minshew from the Jaguars, because he had a better stat line than Murray with less games. Miles Sanders led all rookie running backs by all-purpose yards. I believe by the end of the year, he led all rookies in rushing yards. And he wasn't even thought of. Why? Because he wasn't a number 1 overall draft pick? He was a second-round draft pick? It shouldn't matter where you got drafted at, but it just... sad that it basically got a slap in the face that he wasn't even considered up there. I mean, it's just terrible. And then the New Orleans Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas won the Offensive Player of the Year, which he did edge out Jackson. But I do believe he did deserve the Offensive Player of the Year, because he had the record of 149 receptions this season. I mean, that I don't care if they're slants or if they're deep balls. You still got to catch the ball. That's an impressive number. That's almost 10 catches a game. 8 to 10 catches a game. Which, brings me to our new segment called What If, which is brought to us by the Belly Up Podcast Network. So, what if Drew Brees wasn't the quarterback for the Saints? Would Michael broke that record? Now, we remember that Teddy Bridgewater was the starter for 5 games when Drew Brees was out with the bad thumb. Bridgewater isn't as accurate as Brees. He's a good quarterback. I'm not taking anything away from Bridgewater. But I think Bridgewater would have spread the ball around a little bit more. If you're averaging 8 to 10 catches a game, your other receivers only get 2 to 4, maybe 5 targets a game. It's hard to think Thomas would have caught that much. Would he have caught 100 catches this year? Yeah, I definitely think that. I think that's going to be more of the norm in the next few years you're going to see, whereas a few years ago the big number to hit was 1,000 yards receiving. I think now, with how offenses are, getting to the 1,300 yards a season is going to be the big number. And you're going to see, 7 to 10 more guys a year hitting that. But, what if Teddy Bridgewater was the quarterback? I just don't think Thomas would have hit that number. I think just because Drew Brees was the quarterback, because we don't know what his future holds. He said he's going to make a decision within the next couple weeks. With Brees being the quarterback, I mean, Thomas is his favorite receiver. And once you get used to a receiver and comfortable and know that he's going to catch everything in sight, why would you go to someone different? We saw that last year with Carson Wentz and Zach Ertz. The only reason why he broke that record of most catches by a tight end. Even him, what was 115, 120 catches he had last year for a tight end? So I don't think Thomas would have hit that if Drew Brees wasn't the quarterback, and definitely if Tyson Hill was the quarterback, catches would definitely be down a lot more for the Saints. Because to me, he's a Lamar Jackson. He's a good passer, and he likes to run too. Now, if I were the Saints, because Drew Brees, not sure what he's doing. Teddy Bridgewater, I believe, is a free agent, as well as Tyson Hill. If they're going to bring back Tyson Hill, they got to bring in a good quarterback alongside of him, because they have something there in Hill that, the old phrase, jack of all trades. They will lose a lot of their offense if they just stick him strictly as the quarterback and not be able to move him around like they normally do. So, on top of the awards, they announced the rest of the Hall of Fame inductees, which were Steelers safety Troy Polamalu, former Broncos safety Steve Atwater, Rams wide receiver Isaac Bruce, Seahawks and Vikings guard Stephen Hutchinson, Colts running back Edgar James, and just a few weeks ago, Bill Cowher and Jimmy Johnson were announced as going in for coaches. Troy Polamalu, obviously one of the best safeties ever to play the game. His timing on the snaps, especially in goal line situations, were just amazing. I'll never forget the few times that he's done it where he would be jumping over the front line before they're even standing up, and he's not offsides, stopping the running back in the backfield. Steve Atwater, when he played, back in the 90s, I was 12, 15 years old, and I still remember him playing in that old Broncos uniform, which I still kind of like. I rather the old uniforms compared to these new ones. They're alright, but the old Bronco on the helmet and the different color schemes. And then Isaac Bruce, greatest show on turf. You had him, you had Torrey Holt, Marshall Faulk, who got traded to the Rams because of Edgar James, which I'll get to in a second here. But Isaac Bruce was second all-time in yards receiving behind Jerry Rice before he retired in 2009. Now, obviously, not sure if he's still second, but definitely one of the sure-handed receivers. And that year with Kurt Warner and that whole team, it was just like the description said, greatest show on turf. You would tune in just to see how many points they could put up that year. Could they outdo themselves from the week before? And then that Super Bowl was one of the best, going up against the Titans. Now, I said about Edgar James. Funny story about him with me and my father. The first year, me and my dad decided to do fantasy football. Somehow, I forget how we pulled it off, but somehow we actually got him and Barry Sanders, and that was the year that Barry Sanders ran for 2,000 yards. Sure enough, we won our championship. But talk about an all-around great back. Could catch the ball. Was a powerful runner. A very good blocker. You know, it was him, Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison. I forget who their tight end was, but he retired in 2009. He was the NFL's Offensive Rookie of the Year in 99 and won the league's rushing title his first 2 years with 1,500 yards in 99 and 1,700 yards in 2000. I mean, again, what a great career. You know, so to those guys, my hat's off to them. All well deserved. I know my sister is a big Steelers fan, so she's real happy about it because, like I said, Troy Polamalu's going in, Bill Cowher's going in. I thought there was a third Steelers, and I forget which Steeler it was, but they're also enshrining Paul Tagliabue as well. Which I think he deserves it too because he helped get these TV deals going and help take the NFL to the next level. A little bit of controversy with him with the whole CTE. I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Concussion, but really good movie and very insightful of all the behind the scenes stuff that went on. So then Sunday we had Super Bowl 54. Chiefs versus 49ers. Again, 2 weeks ago, me and Allentown picked the Chiefs to win. I was going for it because for Big Red, Big Andy Reid. Shoulders was going for the 49ers because he didn't want to see Andy Reid win it for us, or for the Chiefs, because he couldn't win it in Philly. I'm glad he pulled it off because I really think now, with the ring on his finger, he has to be considered first ballot Hall of Fame whenever he's eligible. He's not the greatest coach ever to coach, but here is the question that I pose to you guys now. Now that Andy has won the Super Bowl, who is to blame now for him not winning in a Philly? You know, I saw someone put a poll up. Is it Andy, Donovan, or Howie Roseman? My first reaction was Donovan, because he was the one out on the field and he's the one that's supposed to make the plays and just couldn't pull it off. But then I started thinking about it, like, you look at this Chiefs team compared to that Eagles team. Now everybody's going to say, well, you had T.O. Yeah, we did. So T.O., Chiefs have Tyreek Hill. Who's after T.O.? We had, I believe, Todd Pinkston. Freddie Mitchell. Listen, I will take Sammy Watkins over Freddie Mitchell every day. I'll take the chances with the injuries. Running backs. Okay, we had Westbrook. They had Damian Williams. Westbrook was definitely the better running back between the two, but Damian Williams isn't that bad of a running back. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns in that game. And Patrick Mahomes was very average, except for that last 9-10 minutes of the game. You know, he made the plays that had to be made. Especially that 3rd and 15 that Tyreek Hill was wide open on the left side. That play right there, I felt like it got the Chiefs' offense on the roll. Defense came right back out after that drive when they scored a touchdown and just completely shut out the Niners. Their offense. I mean, the Niners, that fourth quarter, didn't really seem like they did anything. The Chiefs held the Niners offense to 49 yards on 17 plays with an interception and a turnover on down. I mean, that's pretty much how the Chiefs got back in. I mean, they were down by 10, and the stat that was kind of eye-popping for this whole year was Mahomes was 5-0 when he's down by double-digit points. And here he is, down by 10, and he pulls off the Super Bowl win. Now, I did see some people say out there that they don't think Patrick Mahomes deserved to be MVP. I mean, I'll be honest, who does? Yeah, Mahomes was pretty much average, but who stood out like the most valuable player of that game? I mean, you could say Damian Williams. You could say the 49ers fullback that had a couple touchdowns, couple catches there. Before the Chiefs started making the comeback, I mean, I was at my dad's bar watching the game with them. And I even asked a couple people, like, who would you consider the MVP of this game? Because it was a good game. I thought it was entertaining. But no one stood out as the clear favorite to be the MVP. But the Chiefs pulled it off. Big Red. And you know what? Just to show how much of a class act he is, it's well known that Jeffrey Lurie and Andy are still good friends, even after all these years. I still think it was time for Andy to move on from Philly. I don't think the players were responding to him anymore. Again, I got a little bit of argument about my dad, with my dad over it. My dad feels like when Andy's son passed away, that really messed up Andy, and that was only a year or two before he was fired. And my father felt like Andy should have took a year off, get his head straight, and then come back and probably could have won it for us. But that's one of those what ifs. So congratulations to the Chiefs. Congratulations to Andy Reid. One last thing about the 49ers fans I want to say is I'm a little disappointed in you guys. Saw the video of the 49ers returning home at the airport, and only 4 fans showed up. The camera panned over to where they were at the fence, and there was 4 fans. I'm always seeing, 49ers, Niners Nation, Niners family. Just, where were you? You went from worst to first. That, okay, yes, it sucks that you lost the Super Bowl. But that's impressive. I mean, how many teams can you just say, hey, my team went from last to first place in 1 year? A buddy of mine at work is a 49ers fan, and I messaged him after the Super Bowl was officially done. I was trash talking with him all week. But I said to him, hold your head high, because they are a good team. The Niners are still a good team. They're a young team, and you're going to see them back there. You're going to see them being competitive for these next few years. Who knows? We may see the Niners of old back in the 80s with Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. Garoppolo's not no Joe Montana, but you never know how this team's going to turn out. But I think they'll be okay. So before we go, if you guys could do us a favor, head over to podchaser.com. Set up an account. It's all free. It takes about 3 minutes to set up. If you guys could leave us a 5-star review on the Stay Tuned Sports site on Podchaser, much appreciate that. Then when you're done doing that, if you head over to Twitter, follow us there at ST Sports Podcast, as well as our Facebook and our YouTube pages. Me and Shoulders are working on the YouTube. We're hoping to do some video episodes there instead of just the podcast episodes, so you could see us, and even some of the videos of Vontae Burset knocking out Antonio Brown, whatever. We're going to start editing stuff into the videos as well. So if you guys could do that, we would much appreciate that. So until tomorrow, because I will be back with a MMA show to talk about things that have happened in the past couple weeks, plus UFC 247 is this weekend. Kind of excited about that. So till tomorrow, this is your good friend Jimbo signing out.